People, people, welcome back to another episode of Elephant in the Room. This episode is number 29, people. We running them up fast, man. Y'all know how we do it this time during the week. We back to recap everything that has been going on in the recent news cycle for the past week or two. Like I said, we do this all the time, people, and everybody that meets me here, everybody that supports me, everybody that continues to, like I said every week, that give me constructive criticism, compliments, just make a reference to the show, period. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. I appreciate that to the utmost. One thing I do notice is, like, because this is a platform that's, I'm trying to get this off the ground. So, it's limited views, it's limited likes. But one thing I run into is a lot of people referencing the show. When I'm just out and about, I may see somebody. I may, bump into somebody that I don't know, but that follows me, that reference the show. You know what I mean? That never liked any that never pressed like on any of my episodes. But even those, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, because as long as I know that it's people out there paying attention to whatever I'm doing. Again, I know I may seem like a certain type of individual that, don't value support. But without your support, people, I wouldn't know how dope I am. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know my voice is as valid as it is without your support. Without y'all letting me know y'all paying attention to what I'm doing. So like I said, before I go any further in the episode, like I said, I always do this every week. And I do this every week because I want y'all to know and understand that, you guys' support, it do not go unnoticed. It is not taken for granted. I love you guys, man, and everybody that has watched the show, watched the clip, you know what I mean? Maybe didn't get through the whole episode, but, watched a few segments. I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that, and I promise you, I'm working every day to try to get this platform better, you know. So, appreciate you guys for your support, as always. Before we jump into our topics, as I always do every week, I want to remind you guys, man, my latest project, Elephant in the Room. I'm sorry. I'm so tapped in. My latest project, Gold Tape, is available right now. Everywhere music is heard, everywhere music can be sold. Once you get done with that, again, go check out the project before that, Scale Tape. And once you're done with that, go check out my debut project. This one's for you, Dad. Streaming on all platforms, all three projects. Those are three very, very solid bodies of work. I put those three albums up against anyone in history. Not saying it's better. Not saying it's not. It stand up to anything, though. Anything that has ever been created out here. But don't take my word for it. Go check it out yourself. Again, my latest project, Gold Tape, is available everywhere music is heard, everywhere music can be sold, across all DSPs, available on all streaming platforms. Please go check that out, people. With that being said, without further ado, we're gonna jump into our topics for the week. The first thing I wanted to talk about, it wasn't even on the board, but one thing that I noticed that's having a lot of people bent out of shape is the whole cuts of public assistance. As I told you guys from episode 1, I am not I don't talk politics at all. Simply because, I just don't know enough about politics to have a intellectual dialogue about it. You know what I mean? One thing I learned very early in life, when you have a conversation about things that you don't know about, because you don't know about it, somebody can tell you anything. And you're inclined to believe it just because you don't know about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I learned very early in life. So that's why I'm real gun ho on not talking about things that, you know, that I'm not familiar with or don't know enough information about. So that's the reason why I'm not I don't talk about politics on my show. One thing that I do know, that the individual in office right now is an idiot. I stand on that. I stand firm on that. You know, don't believe he's qualified to be president. But now, what is those qualifications nowadays? I mean, hey, you know. But again, that's my humble opinion. You know what I mean? And if you disagree with me, that don't mean that we have to fight. That don't mean we can't be friends anymore, nothing like that. I feel the way I feel and you feel the way you feel, and you inclined to believe that. That's you inclined to feel that way, and so am I. That's one thing that is lost in this world nowadays, is people just don't know how to disagree. You know what I mean? I touched on it in a couple episodes ago, but you know, if ever your opinions don't align with mine, that means you have to be a bum, or you know what I mean, a snitch, or less of a person because you don't agree with me. No, it don't mean that, man. It don't mean that at all. So like I said, like that's one thing I do know. But to jump back on topic, I don't like to discuss politics at all. But one thing that has been getting a lot of attention is, you know, the outcry of people, you know, that's unfortunately their benefits are being cut. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of people out in this world that need help, that need those benefits, man. You know what I mean? But just like anything in this world, it's a slew of people that fuck it up for everybody else. You know what I mean? The videos I've been hearing about mostly, but also the few videos I've seen, just the entitlement of, yo, somebody should take care of me. It's sick. It's sick. You know, and that was the reason why I feel the need to touch up on it, because just like as listen, man, as blacks, we just gotta, again, we hear it before, we heard it before, we always hear it. We have to do better, man. We have to do better. I heard about a video of a woman saying, you mean to tell me I have to work 40 hours a week to live? Come on, people. Come on. Come on. And again, I am not better than nobody else in this world. Nobody is better than the next person in this world, but it's your mindset, man. It's your mindset. People are so equipped to just having that crutch that you don't even feel like you can live without it. You will fuck around and your life will be even doper once you get a job and actually start providing for yourself and your family. But you got to scratch that surface. You got to face that fear. You know what I mean? And again, and I'm not talking to the people that absolutely need that public assistance, whether it be food stamps, WIC. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the people that really need it. I know this won't do nothing, but I'm personally sorry for that. For y'all having to go through that, because that just makes things even tougher. But again, it's the people who really don't need it, but just use it just because they're qualified for, or whatever play they ran worked, and now they get $1,000 in food stamps, but they selling them. Like, it's people out here on public assistance driving around in Teslas and Audis and shit and Benzes. It's like, yo, come on, man. Come on, man. Those are the people I'm talking to. The people that try to you know, try to finesse the system. You know what I mean? And again, y'all been getting away with it so long. It comes a time, everything comes to an end. Everything comes to an end. You know, and now is the time, you know, I guess, for this to end. But again, I don't know the all out details of if it's fully cut, if it's not, who's getting cut, who's not getting. I don't know the particulars. You know what I mean? I just know they about to, you know, they about to start policing that shit. And possibly you could be on the verge of getting cut off from your benefits. So for everybody out there who actually need it, I'm so sorry. And I personally, I'm gonna send a prayer up to you guys tonight. You know, just because, man, I don't like seeing nobody having to feel like they're on their last leg. Because those are the individuals that the dumbest shit in the world will sound smart to. So they end up hurting a motherfucker just to get a meal. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't want that, man. I don't want that. You know, so again, people, just stay with it, stay in the game, don't give up. Don't give up. You know, but you know, just for the people out there that's actually using it but don't need it, get your fucking life together. Because you messing it up for people that really need it. And you know that's a crutch. And like when you living dependent on a crutch, it could fuck your life up. Like I remember it was one time with me, like I was living with this girl. She was my girlfriend. And her father owned the house. And you know, her father never charged us rent at all. We was living rent free. And as dope as that sounds, it's shit that come with that. You know what I mean? Like it was like mold in like the corners of like the closets. And you know, I got like bad sinuses. So mold will fuck with my sinuses. So, you know, it would be mold in the closets, like in the corners. And it would be like clothes that I haven't worn a while or didn't even get to wear. It would end up having mold on it. You know what I mean? But again, like I'm living rent free. So yeah, he'll fix it. To his credit, he fixed it. But he'll fix it on his time. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. You know, it was one time when, you know, we had flushed the toilet and like toilet water come up in the tub. And it was like, and it was random. Like you didn't know. You didn't know when it did it. So now it's like, yo, if I'm in the shower, don't use this bathroom. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, but I'm living in that just to stay rent free. And it's like, nah. Whereas if I'm paying rent, oh, I better be first priority. I better be first, second, and third priority. You know what I mean? Because this mold and all of this can potentially mess with my health. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was like, yo, man, like, but the simple fact, the comfortability I was at of living rent free, I was willing to deal with those living experiences just on the whim of living rent free. Like, no. And that's why, like, being comfortable a lot of times can be very, very dangerous. Because you will be willing to take some shit that you're not supposed to be taking, just to stay in that box of being comfortable. So again, for everybody out there who using that shit just because you could use it, get your fucking life together, man. Because there's a bunch of people out here that need this, that need that public assistance, and that you fucking it up for. So get your life together. You know what I mean? But that's all I got on that. I wanted to touch on it. You know what I mean? But again, I am not a politics show. I do not touch on politics. I don't like talking about it. But this is something that has been near and dear to a lot of people's heart. And like just the entitlement of people can actually prop their camera up and talk in front of it as if they got a point of like, yo, you mean to tell me I gotta work 40 hours a week to live? That one got me. It's like, what? But not gonna keep beating a dead horse. Y'all get the point. You know what I mean? Y'all get the point on that. So, prayers out to everybody that's affected by that. And hopefully sometime soon in the near future, things could get back to normal with that. You know what I mean? The public assistance thing. With that being said, we got a few hip hop topics to talk about. The first thing we're gonna talk about is Benny and Freddie Gibbs running into each other at an airport in Paris, I believe. It was Benny, Westside Gunn, I believe Westside Gunn's son, like his oldest son, and they ran into Freddie Gibbs in the airport, and a piece of it was caught on video. Not enough to really make out if the issues were squashed or, you know what I mean, not. You know what I mean? So I don't really know. So I'm not gonna speak up on that. But it's a couple reports that have been coming out that they got to talk. I don't know the context of that conversation. But just happy that neither gentleman end up doing anything that can potentially fuck up a bag in the future. You know what I mean? Because anybody who knows, if you argue too loud in the airport, your ass is banned. And due to the fact those are two artists that a lot of people find dope. You know what I mean? Benny, you already know, he from the hometown. So like, yeah, we rocking with Holmes all the way over here. You know what I mean? And Freddie Gibbs, he, a lot of people think he dope too. So, y'all two black individuals, relatively young. You know what I mean? That's handling y'all business right now. And, y'all in a fortunate position to take care of y'all families. And I know, even with all this being said by me, all of this don't mean you just gonna automatically take disrespect. And I believe in this situation, it wasn't Benny's fault at all. You know what I mean? They were cool for a period of time, or at least cordial. And, after Benny had that unfortunate situation in Houston where he got shot, Freddie Gibbs just sent out a random tweet of making fun of people getting shot in a city, and then now they afraid to go back to the city, basically making a reference to Benny. You know what I mean? I'm not sure on why he did that. You know what I mean? But Freddie Gibbs is one of them artists who has 9 lives. Freddie Gibbs is he's a habitual, he's a punching bag. And I know I sound like I'm being disrespectful, and one thing I pride this show on being is respectful, but I'm just telling you the truth. And I feel funny even talking about this because, Benny probably gonna get the benefit of the doubt. He probably, I'm probably biased because, it's the hometown. You know what I mean? But, the whole reason why they fell out, from the looks of it seemed like it was Freddie Gibbs' fault. And so they've been going at it a few years. They had an incident here in Buffalo, or Freddie Gibbs did, where a bunch of gentlemen jumped on him. Go do your Googles with that. I'm not here to say who it was, who had anything to do with it, but I mean, you put 2 and 2 together, that shit equals 4 all day long. So, take with that as you will. But, like I said, just, man, get through the bullshit, and we all don't have to be friends. You stay over there, I stay over here. And if you want to come over here, I'll go over there. Let's just stay out of each other's way and continue to generate generational wealth. You know what I mean? For family members you didn't meet yet, because that is by far the dopest thing any individual can do in my life. Like like what these eyes can see, the fact that you're fortunate enough, or that you were smart enough to set yourself up to take care of family members that you haven't even met yet, that is the biggest flex in the world. And both of those gentlemen, you know, they have that opportunity to be able to do that right now. So, you know, big shout out to both gentlemen. And as you know what I mean, just as black, you know, dope, you know, powerful individuals, in terms of like, you know, the fact that you can make a needle move. It don't got to be the biggest needle in the world, but the fact that you can make a needle move, you already in the spot that most of us want to be in. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, your impact, make it count. You know what I mean? Make it count. You know what I mean? And as young blacks, we got a much bigger war that's going on right here, right up under our nose, that we are ignoring, rather purposely, or we just don't see it. But we don't have that time to be fucking around with each other, beefing with each other. You know, so again, man, big shouts out to both individuals. Glad that they were able to talk. I don't really know what the, you know, I don't even know what the conversation was about, nor should I know. It's none of our business. And if we are to believe both gentlemen in their music, you know, they come from a certain walk of life where not everything is for, you know, public consumption. You know what I'm saying? So whatever that conversation was about, you know, hopefully it got to some resolution at the end of it. And, you know, those two guys can go on and live the lives that they've been living for the past years, however many years. You know, they've been on and able to, you know, benefit wealth for their family. You know what I mean? They've been able to like actually like take care of shit. You know what I mean? You don't want to ever let nobody trick you out your spot. But at the same time, it's only so much disrespect, and not everything is meant to be joked on, you know. And a motherfucker getting shot, you should never joke on that, even if you do have any type of problems. That's just something you don't do. But hey, it's a different world. It's a different space nowadays. Totally different world, different space. Staying on hip hop, we have Consequence, man. Consequence and Pusha T. Consequence has been Consequence, for those who don't know, he was, you know, a rapper based out of Chicago. You know, solid rapper. You know, he hasn't been in the limelight for a minute for music. So, but that's what he's mostly known for. So he went on a radio station and he leaked some text messages from 5 years ago. And where Pusha T apologized to Kanye West. But he apologized to Kanye West for, like, you know, it was one of those, hey, I'm sorry if you felt the way. It was one of those apologies where, like, I guess Kanye West was texting Pusha T about the Pusha T and Drake thing and how he put Kanye in the middle of it. People, a whole bunch of shit that don't matter. It just don't fucking matter. So yeah, he came on Hot 97 and he said he like leaked these messages, and it's like, hey, if you apologize to a person, don't that mean you respect them? Because, you know, I guess, you know, on the Clips latest album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, on the press run, Pusha T was widely covered for saying he doesn't respect Kanye as a man. You know, so I guess Consequence, that was his reasoning for, you know, saying, well, if you apologize to a person, don't that mean you respect them? No, it doesn't. It don't. It does not. You apologize to a person, that does not mean you respect them. I don't know what that was about. And now, you know, he just came out challenging Pusha T to a lyrical warfare. I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful as possible, but Consequence, sit down. The last time we heard from you, you were on a Love and Hip Hop reunion stage getting the shit beat out of you by Joe Budden. And even that was about 15 years ago. I don't know where you came from with this. And like, he like leaked a bunch of these text messages and like walked off, like dropped the mic. I don't know why he's doing it. For those of y'all who know me, y'all know Pusha T is my guy. I am forever Pusha T, team Pusha T over here. I don't know why Consequence is doing that, but I think I could speak for everyone when I say no one gives a shit about what Consequence thinks or says in 2025 outside of that man's immediate family. So I just let that rest there. You know, I'll let that rest right there. Another topic, you know, staying on hip hop, is Fivio Foreign basically doubling down on saying that Jim Jones is better than Nas. And ironically enough, he had an interview with Jim Jones on Jim Jones, I believe it's a podcast. I don't know what to call it, but you know, Jim Jones was interviewing Fivio, and you know, they brought up the whole Jim Jones is better than Nas and this and that to the third. And Fivio Foreign, you know, he took a lot of heat because he said he didn't grow up on Nas, but he named a few artists that he did grow up on, and one of the artists being Chief Keef, which is cool. Chief Keef is a legend in my eyes. He created single-handedly a whole genre of hip-hop with trap music. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Drill music, not trap music. Trap music is in Atlanta, but drill music. And I'm sorry to everybody in Atlanta. I don't want no smoke. I got a few supporters out there in Atlanta, so my apologies for that. But drill music, you know, Chief Keef is famous for creating that genre of hip hop. So the reason why Fivio Foreign caught a lot of flack for that is because Fivio Foreign is 35. 34 right now, but he'll be 35 in like the next couple weeks. Chief Keef is 30. How did you grow up on Chief Keef and you older than him? Okay, so you know, that's a question a lot of people had, you know, for Fivio Foreign, and it's a valid one. How did you grow up on somebody that you're older than? You know, but you know, Fivio Foreign, you know, I was about to be diplomatic and say you're entitled to your own opinion, but come on, people, come on. That's true. While that is true, it's some shit that's universally stupid. Like, I tell people all the time, okay, if you want to talk about a person being pretty, ugly, okay, or cute, Okay, that's subjective, right? And you're entitled to your own opinion. But there's some people that you can argue, okay, she pretty. Nah, she alright. Nah, she weird looking. She ugly. Or from the female standpoint, nah, he handsome. No, he not. He's hideous. No, he okay. He got a little weirdness going on with him, but when he get his hair cut or his hair braided, he good money. It's some people. It's a lot of that. But some people, some things are just universally. Some people are universally ugly. Some people are universally beautiful. I say it to anybody willing to listen in real life. Like, I'll be like, we all know that. So in terms of this, okay, Jim Jones ain't even in the same league as a Nas. And I am a Jim Jones fan. I love Jim Jones. Jim Jones is by far, in my opinion, the dopest motherfucking artist from Dipset. He didn't start out that way. But he been that for like the last damn near 20 years. Been the dopest, most consistent artist from Dipset. So I love Jim Jones. And I am a Jim Jones fan. But Jim Jones, no, he tell you, he said that shit to go viral. He told you that. So why do you have people like Fivio Foreign really trying to double down on that as if Jim Jones was serious? You know what I mean? I'm sure it was one of those things for Jim, like, okay, I'm playing unless I get a few people that agree with me, then I'm going to be serious. No, Jim Jones, in no walk of this world, in no walk of life, were you ever better than Nas. Your dopest year, your dopest album can't compare to his worst one. And again, Jim Jones is dope. But we don't, just because y'all two rap, that don't mean y'all automatically in the same sentence. No. No one is going to compare a Draymond Green to a LeBron James. And Draymond he's necessary for the team that he won 4 championships with. He's very necessary for that team. Without him, they probably don't win 4. They might win 1 or 2. They're not going to win 4 though. And it's an argument they may not have won any. So you're necessary. You're dope. But anybody with sense will tell you, you don't even belong in the same league with a LeBron James. And yes, you got more titles, all of that. Well, not all of that. That is the all, but that's the most important thing in sports. It's championships. So, with Jim Jones, saying that about Nas, I mean, that kind of came and went. But Fivio Foreign, doubling down on it. I mean, but Fivio Foreign he's an opportunist, in my eyes. A guy that basically, I mean, he gonna do whatever for whatever type of money they offering. So, again, man, I don't really value anything about him. And again, respectfully, you know what I mean? Respectfully, I don't, I'm not here to, down anybody's career or anything like that. I'm just telling you the truth. I don't value anything that man has to say at all. So, yeah, but how do you grow up on somebody that you are older than? I don't get it. But, that's that with that. And, again, I told you we got a few hip-hop topics. Cam'ron, stand on, Dipset or whatever. Cam'ron and Omar Gooding. I think Omar Gooding, I think II, I believe. If I'm mispronouncing it, if I got that wrong, I apologize. But Omar Gooding, he's an actor. They been having, a little back and forth, a little tiff on Instagram and X and things like that. I guess they had issues in the past, and I guess Cam had booked him for a fake movie, basically like a movie that wasn't coming out. So he booked him, paid him, flew him out, did whatever he was going to do, and like had him do a bunch of like, tried to have him do a bunch of clown shit, and I don't know where that shit stemmed from. I don't know how it's still going. I don't know. I don't even care. Be honest with you. But Cam went on social media and clowned them for basically going for taking the bait of, I think he said a number. Was it? I don't even want to get the number wrong, but he was like, yo, I paid you X amount. That's all I had to do to book you. Like, you don't even want any money. Like, basically trying to clown him for, his desperation of securing a movie role. And in response to that, Omar Gooding, he got like 700 diss tracks out about Cam. I haven't heard one syllable of those songs. But again, that's me. I don't care about it. It's really not fascinating to me in any way. But again, I'm just here to get y'all the news, especially like in the hip hop world, because that is what I specialize in. You know what I mean? So I definitely, I have to give you guys the news, but I don't really have a deep dive on that. Shout out to both gentlemen. Hopefully it just stays on jokes. It doesn't get physical, and nobody is put in a position to a point where they feel like they have to defend themselves. Keep it jokes, keep it on social media. Both of y'all gentlemen continue to get your money, and continue to take care of your family like I touched on before. Because that is the dopest thing any of us can do in this world, is to create a space or opportunity or a career where we can take care of multiple families within our family. You know what I mean? So shout out to both of them gentlemen. While we on Cam, he had an interview with Memphis Bleek. For those of you who don't know who Memphis Bleek is at one point in time he was Jay-Z's protege. He's one of Jay-Z's closest friends and longest tenure artist. I'm not sure if Bleek is still contractually signed to Roc Nation or whatever, but Memphis Bleek is known for the man next to Jay-Z. You know what I mean? So and as you guys know, Cam and Jay-Z had their run-ins with each other. They had their feud on wax in the past. So just the simple fact that to see that interview take place was dope. Just to see too, and Memphis Bleek is super loyal. So like if Jay-Z has a problem with anybody, Memphis Bleek is not too far behind, ready to jump off the roof for his homie, as all of us should do. We all should have a homeboy like that. But it's dope to see that, those guys had, can conduct an interview and talk to each other about their past, disagreements and displeasures they had with each other, and rather it be themselves or somebody in their camp. It's real good to see that they can sit down and do that. And that's the dope shit. That's the dope shit. That's the reason why I had even brought this up, is because just two men being able to put aside their differences that they had 20 to 30, I ain't gonna say 30, but 20 years ago. 05 sounds about right. And the simple fact that they can put their differences aside and have just a dope conversation about, everything that happened back then, because everybody knows, man, y'all know where Dipset stand in hip hop. Y'all know where Rockefeller stand in hip hop. You know what I mean? So needless to say, I don't have to touch on that. We all know how important both of those camps are, and hip hop wouldn't be where it is today without both of those camps. So, it's just dope to see that those guys could put aside their differences and just give us content, give us the stories we wanted to hear, let us know how they was feeling at the current time of whatever was taking place. They touched on everything from, how Cam asking Bleak, how did you guys feel when Dame Dash announced that, I was going to be the president of Def Jam, or not Def Jam, of Rockefeller. You know what I mean? And Bleak is just one of the dopest interviewers ever, because Bleak is going to keep it as honest as possible, and you can tell he's genuine. You can tell it's just effortless. You know what I mean? So, like, I always appreciate a Memphis Bleak interview, and Cam is somebody I'm not really a fan of, but again, it's just dope, just as black men being able, again, man, to, generate, you know what I mean, like, that type of opportunity for friends and family members to be able to take care of them and put them in positions to, create their own olive branch for the people that they know and love. You know what I mean? So it's just always dope to see that from a black man. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to be racist here, but again, we trailing in this thing of life. You know what I mean? I was just riding down the block and I seen like 7 families of, Arabs, fixing houses and moving in houses and all of that. And it's like, yo, they, you got people coming here in this country, they buying a property, they doing all type of shit. And we sitting up here worried about, Diddy's sex life. It's like, nah, so we trailing. We worried about the wrong shit. The wrong shit is way too important to us. You know what I mean? So for anybody who gets it, who is in the game of, trying to create some shit, opportunity for others that they love and cherish to, like I said, generate some opportunities for their own loved ones and family members and friends. Anybody who doing that, you got my full support. So like I said, and Cam is doing that with, he got it right. You know what I mean? He don't rap no more, but he, the podcast world is his space now, and he created that. He created that, and I don't care who I'm a fan of. That man shit lit. You know what I mean? So shit, he creating for his loved ones and his family and friends, and giving people opportunity and spaces to do whatever they want to do. And that's forever dope. I don't care who do it, whether I like you or not. So shout out to both gentlemen. For those of you who are not familiar with it, Memphis Bleak is on Talk with Flee, FLEE. Yeah, but he's on that podcast because Cam has 2 podcasts. It Is What It Is with Mace, and Talk with Flee with he has another dude on there. I'm not sure if he's a co-host or not. I don't really watch it, but yeah, it's his own podcast, the Talk with Flee. That's where you can catch Cam's interview with Myth Bleak at. But yeah, go check that out. It's really, really dope. It is really, really dope. And the last topic of the day is Drake's lawyers were asking UMG, Universal Music Group, to disclose Kendrick Lamar's domestic violence records against his wife. And Dave Free, he wants to know. Dave Free is Kendrick Lamar's manager, best friend, close friend, whatever you want to say. He wants to know the relationship Dave Free has with Kendrick Lamar's kids. I don't know, people. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Y'all know where I stand with this. And, I apologize in advance for being, a little snobby at this at this subject. Because one trick you have to know, like if you notice, like on my show, if I talk about things multiple times, that's because I'm not a show that's lit enough to be able to talk about something on one episode and assuming everybody heard me. So, depending on what it is and how important it is and how vital it is to the point I'm trying to make, you might hear me repeat myself on a few episodes just because, you know, what I say on episode 29, by the time I get to episode 35, I might have to repeat the same thing I said in this episode. But it's only because my platform is not lit enough yet to automatically assume, oh, I said it once already, people gonna get on me for saying it again. No, sometimes I could have said something in this episode that I said in episode 28, 27, 26. But you didn't see those episodes, you just seen this one. So, in case you don't know how, I feel about, the Drake thing with, with Kendrick, it's over. Drake is officially the softest guy in hip hop. He is a complete sore loser. And I'm just not interested in anything he has to say pertaining to this battle or Kendrick Lamar, period. Drake is a dope guy. If Drake come to KeyBank Arena tomorrow, I will have front row seats. Whenever Iceman drops, I'm going to listen to it, and due to the fact that Drake is a dope artist, I'm probably going to listen to it more than once. You know what I mean? And if I'm being honest with you, my man E got married last August, and I was in the wedding, so I had to drive to Philly, Dolo. And I listened to way more Drake than I did of Kendrick Lamar. I did, I'm gonna be honest. But I mean, I don't fucking have a dog in the fight, man. Like, I listened to two dope ass artists battle it out, and I mean, I got eyes and ears. We all see who won. You know what I mean? But just this whole thing is dragged out. Nobody cares about it anymore. Kendrick has moved on. I can't really say that. It's still some shots coming Drake's way. At what time, I don't know. But it's damn sure some shots coming. But yeah, but for those of you out there who is, oh, Kendrick is dragging this. I remember when he was performing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. Oh my God, he's dragging it. Who's dragging that shit now? Here it is. Listen. We going on 2 years of that shit being open and shut case. And this dude's still suing. It's just like, man, it's, so again, man, I don't know. It's also, Drake has also made headlines for he appeared in a family court building in Toronto. Nobody knows what that was about because they said the whole building basically got kicked out when he walked in. So he was in there handling some type of business in family court. I don't know what it is. Some people are trying to speculate, oh, it's that secret daughter that Kendrick said he was hiding. I don't, listen, man, I don't know. And, respectfully, don't care. Some people, as public as they are, they deserve to have a private section of their life. And I'm going to give dude that. So whatever he was in family court for, God bless him, and hope everybody came out right. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like, as far as Drake with that suing thing, softest move in hip hop, he will never be looked at the same. And I do believe his career has took a big hit. And again, just because I think that don't make it right. I could be 1000% wrong. I just don't think I am. But even with his career taking a hit, he was so far ahead that, in worst case scenario, he's back down with the crowd. You know what I mean? So, there you have it. For episode 29 of Elephant in the Room, I want to thank everybody out there for, your patience, your support. You know what I mean? And you know, everything like that. Just caring about what I do. You know, just caring about what I do. Again, before I get out of here, I want to give a happy birthday to my guy Wink. His birthday is will be on Tuesday. So Tuesday, what date is that? That is the 26th. So happy birthday to my guy. You know, I came home, you know, in February from doing a substantial amount of time. I don't want to give away too much of his story, you know what I mean? Because I one day want to have him on here. We're trying to figure out how we can have it, like as far as like an interview process. But that is somebody I definitely want on my show. Definitely. Again, for those of you who are inquiring about Scale as well, we are currently looking to relaunch in Black Friday. As these tariffs and everything that's been going on, it really has been having an effect on us. You know what I mean? And we personally apologize about that. Me and Legend, I'm sure I could speak for him. But yeah, we'll be back Black Friday, people. So like I said, for everybody out there that has showed me support in any way, whether it be clothing, music, elephant in the room, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and it does not go unnoticed. Trust me. With that being said, that'll do it for this week's episode of Elephant in the Room, people. Number 29. We will be back next week for episode number 30 of Elephant in the Room. Until then, stay sucker free and continue to do what makes sense to you and the people that you love and important in your life. Signing off, people. Until next time. See you next week.